Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United pod. I'm your host, TC, and here, as always, my co-host. How are you, Scott?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you very much. Today on the podcast, we review the laboured 1-0 win in the Europa League against Partizan Belgrade. We look ahead to Sunday's trip to Carrow Road to face Norwich. And finally, we look back on an impressive 3-1 win for the under-23s against Stoke tonight. First, though, what fun it is to see United win away, Scott. It wasn't that fun, though, was it?
Christmas come early, wasn't it?
Oh, dancing in the snow.
No, we needed this.
We did.
Yeah, we needed this big time, didn't we? It was just nice to get it over the line.
It was. 1-0 winners away in Belgrade. Now, what I'll start with, it wasn't a very good performance at all. It was a really, really bad performance, actually. But Belgrade are unbeaten in 11 European games at home, leading into this game. So this is their first loss at home in 12. Look, traditionally, going away to somewhere like that in Europe is going to be a tricky fixture. In the Fergie years, we would have had no problems with that result. We would have had a problem with the performance. But the problem is that we're not performing well in the games around it, I suppose.
No, but this might be the beginning of him properly investing in this 3-5-2, 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it. His post-match conference, he was saying how confident he is with Rojo playing at the left and Maguire and Jonah playing in the other two central positions. So I think this is going to breed a bit of confidence. Kept a clean sheet. Another big talking point, you've got to say Harry Maguire was the captain.
Yes.
I just think it was a nice change from all these terrible results that we've been having.
Yeah, you're right. And we did stick 3-5-2. I mean, against that kind of opposition, playing three centre-backs, to me, seems a bit much. But also, it's, again, a bit bizarre that we've got Chris Smalling out on loan at Roma. And if we're going to be playing three centre-backs at the back, why haven't we kept the guy who's been captaining our side, who was way ahead of Rojo and Jones in the pecking order anyway?
Well, I think Axel has leapfrogged Chris Smalling. And if anything, Axel's going to come in straight into that probably right side, you'd have to say, where Phil Jones was playing and Lindelof might come in and play on the left. But I just don't think that he was in Solskjaer's plans. And I think if he had the choice of getting rid of Jones or Smalling, he probably would have picked Jones, but no one came in for him. Yeah,
because Rome are talking about keeping Smalling now. He's been playing very well, and they're apparently looking to make that move permanent. So we'll see about that. You're right, another clean sheet. Harry Maguire did captain the side. I didn't think it was his best performance, actually.
No, but again, one of the best hallmarks of a great team are their ability to win when not playing great. And for a defender to be able to not play great and keep a clean sheet in a very pressure-filled environment. Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to complain at all about getting a 1-0 win away from home in Europe in a pretty hostile environment.
And also Maguire probably had a few butterflies. The first time captaining a club of our size, only been here a few months. For him, it was a first and probably a monumental occasion for him, I would have thought. So it's understandable.
Yeah, and he sort of forgot the coin toss at the beginning, didn't he?
Yes, but I mean, is that a blooming headline story, for God's sake? Honestly.
It's definitely not, but it was worth a laugh before the game.
It's unbelievable, isn't it, the way they Harry Maguire, he forgot.
Yeah.
Who cares? Dear me, it's a headline story.
No, I had a laugh at it during the game, but I couldn't believe that reading the newspaper the next day, that was actually the headline.
Yes. And before I ask you about your standout performer, because I think I want to talk about something positive, I will just say, obviously, we returned to the place where the Busby Babes last played in Belgrade. So they laid a wreath before the game. And so just a little moment for those boys as well, always in our hearts. And leading nicely on to, well, I presume your man of the match from yesterday. Was it one of our new babes?
It is. I think you've got to say Brandon Williams.
You have.
Won the penalty.
Yeah, and I must say, Scott, you've been flagging him up.
Yeah.
You've been flagging him up for a long while. You've been flagging up Brandon Williams. You've been also flagging up Garner.
Yeah.
I don't know if you stopped calling him Joel now. I noticed Ollie calls him Jimmy, so it seems like no one can call him his real name. But James Garner played as well. So those are two guys that you've been flagging up, and two guys who've really put their hands up now. Yeah,
just a breath of fresh air down that left. It's nice to see someone coming up and a good example to show.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did win the penalty, which Anthony Martial dispatched. Martial, again, in the goals. It was our only shot on target, though.
Yeah.
Which really is pretty bad stuff. Line-up-wise, we went Romero in goal. We had Wan-Bissaka, right wing-back, I suppose we call them now. Jones, Maguire, Rojo, as we said, in the middle. Brandon Williams on the left. McTominay, Garner, Mata Lingard, and Anthony Martial. That was the starter. Zoran Tozic started for Partizan against us. Do you remember when we signed him and thought he was the new Messi?
I do. I remember it well. Yeah.
Oh God, absolutely. Again, look, there was a number of things that stood out negatively, unfortunately, from the team. The front four, they didn't make one tackle all game.
Yeah, I found it strange. And it was something that we definitely need to kick into action because at least against Liverpool, we pressed a lot and it's where we create a lot of chances from.
Yep.
Yeah, we really need to defend from the front much better.
Well, the joke's on us, Scott, isn't it? Because I sent you a little link to our old friend David Moyes' tactical masterclasses in the day, and we were having a good old giggle about Moyes' pressing from the front tactics. And then in the night, we were bloody awful pressing from the front. And Ollie said the pressing was non-existent. I thought, God, the joke's on us. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they could do with watching that video.
Oh, God, it was incredible stuff. That was very funny. If anyone wants to have a laugh, go and watch Moyes' tactical masterclass. It's basically him pushing a load of kids around and showing off what a great manager he is.
And conveniently cutting out parts that he loses his rag, I'm sure.
Yes. So that Martial goal was the first away goal in 392 minutes. The last away goal we scored was against Southampton in August. So another stat that really is not palatable stuff for us. But you're right. We had the win. We've got 7 points out, 3 games now, incredibly. Look, at this stage of the season, sometimes it's just about getting through. When we won the Europa League, I don't remember us having a really great run in it. We kind of stuttered through, and then towards the end, Jose was like, right, we've got to put all our eggs in this basket. And we went for it big time.
Yeah.
So we're going to qualify by the looks of things. So, that's the main thing here. And looking at things going on inside and outside the club, we might have to win the Europa League. I mean, that might be the only way this season can be saved. So at least we have that as a possibility.
Oh, I think if you offered 90% of Reds nowadays winning the Europa League this season, they'd bite your hand off for it.
Oh yeah, we would, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So we move on to Norwich on Sunday. Can I just ask you, Scott? I never asked you for your man of the match in the Liverpool game. It's normally my favourite part of the pod, isn't it?
Yeah, I was wondering that, to be honest, but I do remember it was...
You can always ask me, by the way.
Well, break tradition.
Go on, go for it.
I would probably say it was Daniel James. Got a great assist and was pretty much the focus of our attack going forward.
Yes.
He seems to be pretty central to anything we do positively. I'm not sure about Ollie thinking he's all right for the number 10 role. I think he belongs on the wing.
Yeah.
Where he can get a bit of space.
You know what I'd say about that number 10 thing? If it's in a 3-5-2, it's not really a number 10 anyway, is it? You basically play 2 strikers. So as one of 2, and obviously, Rashford or Martial are more of a striker than him, so you go, he's the number 10. But he's not really. He's basically a floater off the striker. I don't have a problem with that. But then in a 3, obviously, he needs to play out wide. We don't want Danny James in as a number 10 with bodies surrounding him when the ball comes to his feet. That's not playing to his strengths. But I would give him man of the match against Liverpool as well, mate. He got battered, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got absolutely battered. And I must say, it's actually time the rest started protecting him. And it's actually about time Ollie said something about it as well. Fergie would have been straight out putting stuff in refs' minds. When he got booked twice earlier this season and he wasn't fouled, that was the time to start putting messages into refs' minds about why isn't he being looked after? Because the truth of the matter is, in the Liverpool game, he got battered. Absolutely battered.
Yeah, I seem to remember after the Wolves game, Ollie came out after he got booked for diving and saying, when he's travelling at such high speed, it's so easy to go down and sometimes it's not deliberate, it's not intentional, it just happens.
Yeah.
But you're right, he should have said something probably a bit stronger.
Yeah. So look, we'll move on to the Norwich game. Let's just before.
But hang on, just before we could say that, Daniel James be great playing up front in this 2 up front 3-5-2 that he's looking to play, and I just don't want it to be okay. If he's okay to play number 10, then we're not going to need one. I think in the next transfer window we seriously need a proper number 10, someone to properly pull the strings, and I just hate for his flexibility to be the reason why we don't get a proper number 10.
Well, but the thing is, Scott, if we move him inside and we get a number in, then we have the number, then we need a new winger, don't we?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But I totally agree with you. We need more creativity. We need more creativity to help the likes of Daniel James, not bring him inside to basically put another plaster over a gaping wound.
Yeah, and he was signed as a signing for the future and someone who can maybe contribute here and there right now, but not someone who should be coming and thrust straight into... he's saved us on a lot of occasions this year. I think this year would be so much worse without him. And it's just unfair to put this pressure on him,
Yes. No, it is absolutely is. And to be honest with you, it's the aftershock of that desperate transfer window where we didn't get anywhere near the amount of players we needed in.
Mm-hmm.
And, our defence is looking more solid. Although we are conceding a goal a game. So, it's not that solid. We signed one attacking player who was meant to be for the future, like you say, but now he's our star man, unbelievably out of nowhere. So,
yeah, it just goes to show how desperate the rest of the squad is, that you sort of bring in this guy who £15 million from Swansea. It's not as though he came lighting up the world, and he's been just the star in the crown, right? And
yes.
it's just amazing to see the level that the rest of them were at, that he can come in and have such a huge influence.
That's true. He's been superb. But I will also say, Scott, he also, his attitude has been at 100% since he arrived at the club too. I mean, he had every excuse to arrive with his head a bit boggled, and he arrived with a smile on his face. He had every right to arrive with a face like thunder after what happened in his family in the summer. And every match he's given 100%. He could have gone off against Liverpool. Every man and his dog was saying he's concussed a few days earlier.
Yeah.
And then he got smashed in the face against Liverpool. Blood was coming out of his nose before we quickly cleaned it up. Now, you've been hit in the face after supposedly being concussed a few days earlier. He was fine. I'll play on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think if that were to have happened in America, he would have been forced off.
Yes.
In the concussion protocol, all of that.
Yes. But what I'd say is that what I'm highlighting is the attitude of Daniel James has been fantastic all season, and his performances have mirrored that. There's other players who their form has gone up and down, but so's their attitude. So you have to say...
Well, it sort of strengthens my point.
Oh, no, I agree with you, Scott.
If the rest of them had the attitude that Daniel James had, we wouldn't be in this mess.
It stinks. It stinks. Daniel James has been leading the team. Harry Maguire's captain already. Of course he is, but he shouldn't be.
Well, I think Phil Jones ruined his chance of ever putting the captain's armband on with his performance at West Ham.
Yes.
in the stands.
Yeah, I know. So look, we move on to Norwich at the weekend, away to Norwich, almost exactly the match we don't want. 4:30 on the Sunday. Norwich, really good for home form. Leicester tonight have beaten Southampton 9-0.
Yeah, same Southampton that drew with us a few months ago. Yeah,
they've absolutely smashed them. They've now got a better goal difference than Liverpool, Leicester, and they're 10 points ahead of us in second position. So if we lose at Norwich, we would be 10 points behind Leicester with 10 games played.
Yep.
They're 5 points behind Liverpool. It looks like Leicester are the only ones that are going to blooming stop them, Scott. That would be magic, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers. Oh, God. That would be the first VAR red card ever in the Premier League tonight.
I thought it was a bit harsh.
Guess who was in the box?
Go on.
In the VAR box. No, go and have a guess.
Mike Dean.
Got it in one.
Oh, I got it.
Of course he did.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Chucking him out from up there.
Any chance. Any chance.
103, not out.
Incredible stuff. So, off to Norwich. We've got a bit of an injury list still. Pogba, Shaw, Matic, Delot, Bailly. Tuanzebe's out with a niggly hip.
Matic as well?
Yes. I said Matic, yep. And even if Luke Shaw was fit, do you reckon he would have replaced Brandon Williams on that left back berth, or do you think Brandon Williams has done enough to keep his place?
Wouldn't have thought so. I think proper competition for places breeds desire and ability and what have you. And
Yes.
I think that it's best scenario to have for Luke Shaw, to have someone who's properly biting at his heels to try and get in the first team. I think that Luke Shaw's position has been almost guaranteed for years, and it's sort of hindered his development.
That's a good point. I totally agree. I think in terms of personality, Luke Shaw's the kind of guy who does need that push.
Kick up the arse.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
I'd expect David De Gea to come back in between the sticks.
Yeah.
Are you expecting us to go 3-5-2 again?
Yeah, I am. 100%.
Yeah. And do you expect it to... what do you expect? Do you think Lindelof back in?
It'd be interesting. I think that he's actually got a lot of confidence in Rojo. So if Lindelof was to come back in, he'd probably come in for Jones. But I don't know. It remains to be seen. He might be best placed in the middle because we've questioned his speed and his acceleration in the last few weeks of the pod. And I think that when you're playing either side of the central defender, then your speed can be exposed. So it'll be interesting if he does come back into where he'll be placed.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Scott. But what about up front? Do you think we'll stick with Martial at number 9?
I'd hope so. He played 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Brought him off for a reason. Mason only played, 45 or 50 minutes tonight, so he might be on the bench again, but doesn't look like he's going to get any minutes, does it?
No, it doesn't. We're going to touch on that under 23 game soon. You're right, though. He did play tonight after being on the bench on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So we will see with that. And obviously Danny James played 30 minutes in Belgrade as well. What do you expect? We might see the Martial, Rashford, James triumvirate up front at Norwich, or what?
Perhaps I would probably think it'd be Martial Rashford up top with Jesse behind him. Those would be the front three, and hopefully you bring James on to be the impact sub that he's earmarked for.
Yes, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, Lingard and Mata, I thought were particularly bad against Belgrade. If I'm honest, I mean, just looking back at the stats from Thursday. Sorry to jump back, but they had 14 shots to our 5.
Yeah.
2-1 on target. 9 corners to 2 in their favour as well. It's hard to justify giving any of the attacking players from Thursday night any starts. Of course, Martial was his first getting back, really. But yeah, that's shocking stuff, really. I'd kind of like to see Lingard and Mata off the team sheet for Sunday, really.
Yeah, you might be right. Who knows? It's really tough to predict Ollie's team sheets these days.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. We could lose 3 games in a row against newly promoted teams for the first time since 1960 if we go down at Carrow Road. That's not
already.
Yeah, that is not a record we want to break.
But Norwich are a good team. They just beat City. They smashed City a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
They smashed Newcastle at the beginning of the year, and Newcastle just beat us a couple of weeks ago. So it's not as though we're going somewhere that points are guaranteed.
That's why I said it's the worst match for us, Scott, because they really can put on a performance. And just looking, and don't blame me for this, Reds, please. But Pukki scored 6 in his first 5. He scored none in his last 4.
Yeah.
Knowing the way things go at the moment, Scott, he'll probably score on Sunday, and there'll probably be a 15-year-old guy who's just left his PE class who comes on his debut and scores as well. I would have thought, knowing recent history.
Yeah, that would work.
But yeah.
Or we can continue this corner that we seem to have turned last Sunday against Liverpool and thrash out a 1-0 win or a 2-0. Who knows?
It would be nice. You know what? I was watching the 23s tonight, but I was looking at the goals going in down in Southampton and just thinking, how we missed that fun, don't we? That fun, smashing someone 9-0, having a laugh, 5-0, 6-0, even just playing some nice football.
Mm-hmm.
We've been starved. It's been a long time now. It really has. I mean, of course, we had that mad run when Ollie first took over, and we all went wild, wild, wild. It was brilliant, but it was so brilliant because we had been starved before that again.
Yeah,
sure. We had the run in the Europa League, the League Cup under Jose, and the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal, which was great. The win that day, it was a fantastic day. But yeah, we're not very fun to watch at the moment. We're really not. I mean, watching the 23s tonight was much more fun than watching the firsts last night, unfortunately.
It is these days, isn't it? It definitely is.
And I'm not just saying
they just play with a lot more freedom.
And I'm not saying that to just, to be quirky or whatever. It genuinely was more enjoyable to watch. It really was.
Yeah.
Bizarre stuff.
Yeah.
Should we move on to that?
Yeah, we should.
Go on. No, go on. Tell me.
Well, I was going to say, the more I watched it, the more I felt like a lot of those players could do some real damage in the first team. And it's just a shame that it doesn't work out as evenly or as the correlation isn't as perfect as that.
Yeah, I think Scott, we've talked about this many times throughout the years, haven't we? We do. Look, I think this is a really, really good group. That's the funny thing. I think it's a really good group. Mm-hmm. We've said already, youngsters coming into a developed team, a team with a good balance, with the leaders, with people who can hand on their experience, is when you want to be bringing youngsters into a team, of course. So yeah, we've gone through that in terms of the pathway to the first team at the moment is a bit weird. Mm-hmm. But in terms of talent, they've got loads of talent in that team. They really do. And you're right, they play with the freedom and they play a lot more. I've been watching a few of the old games just from 2008, 2009. I kind of did it on purpose, if I'm honest, Scott. I had a look back to refresh my memory as to what it was like to watch United back then. It was bloody brilliant, by the way. We were full of energy. Every player just steaming around the park. It was fantastic to watch, looking back. And watching the 23s, I see a bit of that culture, as they like to call it, Ed Woodward and the gang, in the 23s. And it's lovely to watch. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I was on MUTV, on the MUTV app earlier, watching the 23s, and they had this little video of all the United goals scored at Carrow Road, and the first 3 were Kanchelskis and Giggs and Eric Cantona, and the year that Scholesy came back, I think it was 2011-12, and him and Giggsy scored in that game. Giggsy scored the last minute for us to win, and it was a really nice trip down memory lane. And you're right, it just makes you miss those days and worry that you took them for granted.
Yeah, and I do think we're guilty as a club of kind of creating some invisible handcuffs for ourselves. of saying, right, we need to have a culture exactly the way it used to be. We have to have youth in the first team. We have to have a British score. We make all of these rules that no other team has, that we have to follow in order to be successful.
Yeah.
But when you look through the years, you look through Fergie's years, for instance, we were a very adaptable team. You know, we would play defensively. We'd play five in midfield. You know, quite often we weren't an all-out attack mad team. We did go all-out attack, and then when we smelt blood, we went for it big time.
Yeah, but back in the years, we played this very strict 4-4-2, and we had Giggs and Kanchelskis, or Lee Sharp was also on the wings as well. Yeah. It would turn into a 4-2-4 for most of the game, you know?
You've hit the nail on the head, Scott, and this is the thing, from looking back on the games, is the thing that just popped back into my memory. Those teams were so fluid.
Mm-hmm.
They were so fluid. You literally, you could watch them in Giggsy would play number 10 for a little while. Then he'd drift out to the wing, and then he'd be on the right wing. Ronaldo would be on the left wing. Before you know it, Rooney tracking back. He's back in the right back position. Oh, that's all right. The right back will go ahead to the right wing position. Next break and play would just switch back. They were so fluid. They all knew exactly what to do in each situation. That guy's gone, I'll drop. And in this team now, we don't have it. We really don't. But the 23s, I see a little bit more. You've got Chong, Gomez, Mellor, Greenwood, all interchanging and playing on the front foot, which is so nice to watch.
Yeah, they seem to play for each other a bit more, don't they?
They do. So, look, it was from the Lee Sports Village. We had Woolston in goal, Ethan Laird right back, Mengi, Bernard and Devine left back, Galbraith and Dylan Levitt in midfield, Chong, Gomez, Damani Mellor and Greenwood up at the front. Didn't take long, Scott. Sixth minute, Ethan Laird burst down the right, superb ball into the box. Great finish by Greenwood as well, you must say, sliding in. Did you catch it?
I did, yeah, I did. And I think he'll be relieved after he missed a chance a couple of minutes earlier. But you're right, what a fantastic cross from Ethan Laird. And, if we didn't have Wan-Bissaka right back for the foreseeable future, you'd expect him to be knocking on the door too.
Yeah. He looks a really, really tidy player. I thought it was a tidy finish from Greenwood. He did really, really well to get on the end of that.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Yeah, attacking the ball, superb stuff. So off the mark on the 6th minute, Stoke hit back on the 37th through Keramateng. I think that's the right pronunciation. We hit back on the 51st with a really, really nice goal, actually. Teef Chong steamed down the left, loads of energy, zinged it in. Damani Mellor just knocked it back. And Angel, what do we say, Angel?
Angel
yeah. Gomez, I don't know what my problem is. Yeah. Angel Gomez, beautiful curled finish, showing his class, tight spaces. The first team struggle against low blocks, as Mourinho says, or deep line defences. And Gomez maybe is the guy with the footwork to circumvent that.
That's what I mean. I think he could perhaps unlock the door of that number 10 position. But it's what you were saying earlier, that these players don't come in and succeed when the team needs them to.
Yeah.
They're like added extras. To come in and have to make a change and have to have a proper influence so early for the lad is really tough to expect.
Yeah, and also, Scott, I think back in the day you could protect players to a very large degree. You can make sure that that they don't do any interviews. You can make sure that they are in a little cocoon almost. Whereas nowadays, although players are given everything on a plate in terms of money and trimmings and all the rest of that, they also have full access to millions of fans, and millions of fans have access to them on social media, which we never had in the past. So you do have the situation where opposition fans, United fans, people who claim to be United fans as well, basically calling you all kinds of stuff after you've missed a chance that you really wanted to score yourself. You're probably pretty annoyed you missed it, and then you've got a load of Burks right down your throat saying you're a disgrace and blah blah, whatever else they say. It's a pressure on a young man now. It comes with sort of added caveats, doesn't it? Unfortunately,
it definitely does. Everyone is expected to succeed right here and now, and it seems like patience has gone out the window.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. In the 58th minute, Teef Chong again, zooming around, side down, Angel Gomez with a penalty. Unfortunately, was saved low to the right. Really good save for the keeper. A little bit close to him, not right in the corner from Gomez.
I didn't think it was a bad penalty though. It was unlucky. It was a really good save.
It was, yeah. I mean, I think any penalty that doesn't go in, I guess, is a bad penalty. But it wasn't a shocker. It wasn't a shocker. And then, 63rd minute, Largi Ramazani, our old pal, came on 33 seconds later from a Stoke corner. So they've got the first team's habit. You don't score from your own corners, you score from the opposition's. picks up the ball in the halfway line, didn't have to beat anyone from then. He had a free run, the keeper's in no man's land, slips past him, ball in the empty net, 3-1, see you later, game over.
Yeah, first 3 touches of the ball, third one was the shot and goal.
What were you worried about?
Yeah.
And a little throwback with a nanny flip to celebrate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah?
Unbelievable, yeah.
we used to have a joke in Old Trafford. We always used to have a laugh when Nanny was doing his flip. Go, oh, here he comes! And then we'd celebrate the flip as well as the goal, which is fantastic. Those are the days, mate, I tell you. So, you know what? A really, really, really nice performance from the 23s again. After that Thursday night, of course, we had the win. But I wasn't crowing from the rooftops about the performance. But then tonight, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed, as you say, the team dynamic and some people getting some minutes. Greenwood got a good load of minutes tonight as well. As you said, do you think he might still make the bench for Sunday?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
But it's nice to finally have a week that we haven't lost. It's actually quite a positive week and quite a positive Friday podcast for a change. It's nice.
Yes, absolutely. And then now they're talking about a delegation from the club going to Saudi Arabia as these takeover talks progress a little bit.
Yeah, I'm all up for that.
There is an international business conference over there. So I presume people were heading over there anyway. But the timing does seem quite palatable. Look, if there's some kind of movement, we don't know who will eventually buy the club. But if there's some kind of movement, it's better than what we've had in the last years, isn't it?
Of course.
Realistically. And if we can, all we want, Scott, I think I speak for you. All we want is just to run off our own back again. You know, all I want is us to be able to spend the cash we earn, and we live or die by that. You know, we don't need handouts. We just need to use the power that we have as the world's greatest and most supported club to then translate that into the greatest team on the pitch.
Yeah,
that's all we ask for,
and not have to service this debt year in year out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not. We're not asking for the world, but it kind of has come to the time where it needs to be moved along a little bit. But more positive stuff, as you say.
Yeah, and you got to remember at the end of the day that the Glazers are businessmen. They have no heartstrings attached to this club. So the second it downturns, it might be the right time to sell, and you never know.
Exactly. I mean, if someone offered you the chance to buy some golf club that you didn't give two hoots about, and they said this is going to make you more money than you've ever blooming known, there'll be a few members that'll be a bit pissed off, but so what?
Yeah.
Then you'd probably be like, yeah, well, I've never heard of them. Yeah, sure, no problems, let's do it. Of course, the members of the golf club would be furious, but you're right. To them, it doesn't matter. But we're not talking about a few old granddads in the corner of a golf club. We're talking about millions and millions of fans all over the world who wait for the weekend to watch United, who obviously who were affected by it. So it is a bit different.
Yeah, bit of a stretch that, TC. Yeah, not one of your best analogies.
Well, on that note, remember to subscribe to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a 5-star review. That helps us very much. We'll be back on Monday, hopefully after another victory away at Norwich. Thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, TC.
Cheers, Reds. Cheerio.
Ta-ra.